Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the government shutdown. So I'm going to walk you guys through the government shutdown, what type of impact that is projected to have on the real estate market. So if you've been wondering about that, is now still a good time to buy? It's still a good time to get into the game. Make sure you stick around to the end, ask lots of questions. If you're new to the platform, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe, share the content with someone who you want to get value. And let's get into a little bit of housekeeping. We have our next real estate ride along tour coming up Saturday, November 15th. If you want to come out and spend the day with me touring properties in different phases of full gut rehab, that is your opportunity. Those tickets usually sell out pretty fast. So you want to move quickly. I think half of the tour bus is already sold out. So if you want to get in on that, just reach out, DM me, ride along. If you're interested in our done for you programs, our boots on the ground program, where we find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage properties for you. So fully turnkey, just reach out, DM me, boots on the ground. And if you want to get mentorship, a lot of you are working with budgets, like really tight budgets. Hey, I got 5K, 10K, 25K. I want to get into the game. We have our mentorship programs, $27 to join. You can click the link in the description, click the link in bio. You will just go to, let me pull that up. You will just go to workwithgrimes.com/offer, and you can become a member. And we do live coaching calls every Wednesday night at 9. So we will be doing that once we get off of this. So make sure you reach out and tap in if you're interested in that. All right, guys, let's get into this thing. So the government shutdown, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly? And, if you're a new real estate investor, you're probably struggling with a lot of different things, like finding profitable deals, finding tenants, running comps, knowing your ARVs, managing contractors, building rehab budgets. Like all of these different things can stump you at times. If you just want to skip past that and hit the easy button, this is definitely for people out there who have, a little bit of capital to play with, 25 to 50,000. You'll want at least a 620 credit score. You have to be qualified to work with lenders. Reach out about our done for you boots on the ground program. You can just reach out for that and hit the easy button. But what I want you guys to understand about the government shutdown and kind of all of these things, because right now it's the government shutdown. Before, there's always some type of shutdown that you're seeing since 2020, we'll call it. You need to understand that real estate is like Kung Fu. There used to be this old TV show called Kung Fu. And one of the main principles was that when one door closes, another door opens. And real estate is like Kung Fu in that sense. If you study the game, if you stick with it, you will understand that things like the government shutdown create opportunities. There we go. It looks like we're back. We lost the signal. Um, it's not just one group of people. What it becomes is a group of thinkers, people who think in a certain format, who watch too much of the news, who are too into the doom and gloom of real estate investing. So what you need to focus on is what opportunities are actually opening up for investors as we're moving forward into this. And also understand that the government shutdown it's just not going to last. It's not necessarily something you need to concern yourself with because it's not long term. These things usually last, a few weeks to maybe a month. And if you start planning around it, you're just going to set yourself up for opportunities. But let's get into some of the things you guys need to think about. One, and we're going to go pros versus cons. The con, if you are a FHA buyer, if you are a first time, homeowner, which is how I got my first deal, right? I put down 3.5% and I bought a multifamily, like a triplex, basically, where I could live in one unit and rent out the others. That could get delayed. There could be FHA, VA, USDA loans that could get stalled out, suspended. These are things that you need to think about, within the game. You don't know if that's going to happen or not. So that is something that you want to concern yourself with and maybe, worry about if you're going with that strategy. If you are a real estate investor, just a pure investor, you're dealing with DSCR lenders and different types of no doc lenders and specialty lenders that aren't federally backed. There's just going to be less competition for you because a lot of the retail buyers, they're going to pause. They're going to get scared because they view this as a uncertain time. When they're pausing, they're going to leave more room open for cash buyers and investors to scoop up deals. So there's a saying, when there's blood in the streets, buy the real estate. You need to really lock into that principle right now. And what that means, blood in the streets, means just drama. People are afraid. People are fearful of the game. You're at one of those times right now where people are afraid of the real estate game. You want to be going in deeper because opportunities are going to be opening up as people sit on the sideline, as people step out of the game. So just keep that in mind, that there may be delays if this thing goes longer. I think it would have to go like into another month, maybe in a month 2 or 3, before you would even start to see this at a mass scale. But even if you do, as an investor, that's going to open up opportunities because more people are sitting on the sidelines afraid. You step in, you grab their deals, and you can get steep discounts also from sellers who are afraid because they watch too much news. Guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe, share the content with someone who you want to get value. If you have questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comment section. If you're interested in any of our programs, our Boots on the Ground program, where we find deals for you, build them, manage them. We'll do the Section 8 tenanting, market rentals, room rentals, all that stuff. Just reach out, DM me, Boots on the Ground. And if you want to get in on our next ride along tour, I recommend just reaching out, DMing me ride along and grabbing a ticket before they sell out. Don't reach out, November 7th. Hey, do you have any more tickets? We won't. That's just kind of how it goes. Let's get into the next topic. So pros versus cons. So the one thing we have is, and this is really important. I didn't understand this when I was doing my first deal, but if you're getting into your first deal, you need to think along these lines. There will be slower closings. So when you're closing on deals, you have things like IRS verification. They want to check to see if you filed your tax returns and, if you're good to go there. Flood insurance, appraisals, depending on the nature of the deal that you're working on. If you're working on smaller residential deals, maybe this is less of a big deal. If you're working on commercial or like larger deals or ground up deals, some of this stuff can really drag you. I ran into an IRS verification issue on my first deal, but we weren't in the middle of a shutdown or anything. So I was able to navigate it, but it was going to be a deal killer. It could have cost me $5,000 at a time where I only had like 10 grand to invest in real estate. So it's something to keep an eye out for. It may be slower. It could impact closing times. I don't think it would be detrimental to a deal because it impacts everyone. So the seller is likely to wait it out because what are they going to do? Go find another buyer who's also going to potentially deal with the same issue. So not something to be super concerned with, but do understand that these things can go slower. If you haven't filed your tax returns or you're kind of waiting on some information to come back in, understand that the government may be a bit slower on verification. You will get better on the positive side, better negotiation power. Sellers may drop prices or accept creative terms right now. So for those of you who are in our community group, you are learning about creative financing, seller financing, subject to lease purchase options, some of these creative strategies. Well, if sellers are getting freaked out by the government shutdown, which you would hope for as a buyer, this is going to put you in a position to do better negotiations and have better negotiation strategies that you can execute on. So I would focus on a lot of that, finding seller pain as you're talking to people. They're not going to be so brazen and bold anymore. Eileen said, what tickets should I ask or request? Just DM me if you're on IG, just DM me ride along and we will send over the information to you. The ride along will be in Philadelphia. We are going to tour our Philly operation. So you'll get to check all of that stuff out. Let me keep flowing. Guys, if you get value, like, comment, subscribe, share the content with someone who you want to get value, and drop your questions in the chat in the comment section. If you want to tap into the ride along, just reach out, DM me, drop a comment that says ride along, and we'll reach out with the information. If you're interested in our done for you programs where we find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage properties for you, reach out, DM me, Boots on the Ground, and I'll get you guys tapped into that. And once again, we have the community group. If you need mentorship, if you want me to like answer your questions and help you and guide you through this process and give you access to the content, this is our VIP course content, by the way, to help you to the next level. All you have to do is click that link in the description, click that link in bio, and tap in. It's $27 to join. But you can go to workwithgrimes.com/offer and you can tap in there. Let's get to the next topic I'm going to talk about, Section 8. And I just sent out a update from Philadelphia because we're managing so many properties for you guys in the Philly market. I sent out an update from PHA, from the Philadelphia Housing Authority. They're well capitalized, and they're basically just like, you know, we're good to go. We're not really concerned about the shutdown. I think everybody's of the mindset that I am, which is like, the government shutdown is not likely to last. It's not going to have that big of an impact. Most of these major cities, especially the blue cities, are well capitalized. So they're going to be fine. They're going to keep paying. And that was the update that they sent out today. For our community members, I dropped that in our community group. So I dropped that Section 8 update from PHA. So hopefully that helps to ease any concern that people have there. But let's get into kind of the pros and cons here. So from a con, Section 8 and housing assistance delays, they can happen, but I'm going to explain why it probably doesn't matter. Payments or funding to local housing authorities may temporarily slow. Keyword is may. The Section 8 departments are what I would call micro local, meaning, you know, Philly has its department. Then if you're in New Jersey, Camden County has its department. Winslow Township has its own department. Newark has its own Section 8 off. Everybody's got their own. And it's kind of like that. So as you go around the country, there are all these departments. They capitalize at different levels. They have different leadership, different mindsets. So if you're in some of these red states, a lot of people were told, I would say like two or 3 years ago, this kind of got big. Go invest in red states because they're landlord friendly and you can evict and da 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 da. Well, that doesn't work too well for you during times like government shutdowns because they're going to be overreactive to anything that the administration does. They mention a shutdown the next day. They're like, we have no money. We're out. When you go to Philly, they're not really like that. You know, you go to the blue cities, they look over and they're like, all right, government shutdown, whatever. They're going to keep capitalizing. They're probably, my estimation is they're capitalized through year end, and the shutdown is not going to last that long. So not likely to have a impact, but let's say it did. Let's go to the super negative. Let's say the shutdown lasted 4 months, which would be extremely long. And they got to the point where they're like, you know, we don't have any money. They're just going to keep tracking the payments that are owed to you and stall. And what will happen is once the government opens back up, they're going to pay you a reconciliation payment of all the past due funds. That's all that's going to happen. It's called like a hold and abatement type of strategy. So it's not something you need to be overly concerned with. But on the positive side, there will be more off market opportunities. Fear drives motivated sellers. So people who are sitting on the sideline, who are already a little bit motivated, they're already struggling, they don't know what they're doing. Maybe they inherited a property and they're just kind of losing money on it. It's not rented, it's not cash flowing. These opportunities are going to be popping up more and more. And investors who market during uncertainty, who have a system, and we've talked about marketing for motivated sellers. I'm actually in the process for our plug and play program. I'm launching motivated seller Facebook ads this weekend to drive even more traffic for our plug and play and our boots on the ground program, because in response to some of this stuff. We had it in plans anyway, but now's a great time to pull the trigger. You're going to get more calls and more leads. The market is real. So if you react to it in real time, if you, put out the right fishing net, you're going to catch many fish. This is a great time to go fishing for off-market opportunities because the fear, once again, it drives motivation. Guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe, share the content with someone who you want to get value. Let me drop this in. Adora says, highly recommend the tour. It will be packed. Yeah, when she was there, maybe there were like 24 people. It will be packed. I went in August and it was great. We saw like 16 properties. So yeah, we saw a bunch of houses. We're going to see as many as we can within a day. I could probably see 20 to 30 in a day, but I don't, sometimes I kind of put out the feeler like, hey, you guys want to see any more? And sometimes people are just burnt out. It's a lot of stairs. It's a lot of tax on the body to see that many properties and go in and out. But it's a lot of fun. It's an adrenaline rush, and it will accelerate you. I would say like a decade, in my opinion. Going on a ride along tour, seeing a bunch of properties in various stages of full gut rehab accelerates you. There's just no way for it to not. It's the one thing that Adore said, bro, it's a lot of stairs. It's the one thing I wish I could have done. If there was one thing I could have done that would have saved me probably $250,000 to $500,000 worth of mistakes, $250,000 to $500,000 worth of mistakes, is a ride along tour before I got into the game. That is the one experience I wish I had. And I wish it was designed like my tour is, because some tours, they will take you out, show you like 2 properties, and then they go take you to like a classroom or something and do a whiteboard all day. We just stay out in the field. The more deals that you see in a day, the more you advance, the further you go. If you want to go, Deirdre said, I want to go, reach out, DM me, text me, ride along. You can see some of the info at the bottom of the screen, kind of scrolling. Reach out, DM, text, email, however you got here. Reach out and get yourself a ticket before they run out. And of course, if you're interested in our Done For You programs, just reach out or click the link in description, and you can tap into our community group when we shift to our private Q&A, which will be very soon. Is it usually a bad sign if you see a home on the MLS 90 plus days? No, it's not a bad sign to see a deal sitting. It could just be a sign that the deal was overpriced. Sometimes a deal will hit the MLS, go under contract in 2 days. Then it's off the MLS. Then you fast track maybe 2 months. It fell out of contract for some reason, and now it's back on the market. And it will still show as 90 days on market because technically it's been listed, and then the listing came back, but it's been available hypothetically for 90 days. Okay, let me just make one shift here. Give me 1 second, guys. Here we go. Number 4, pros and cons. So the con, buyer confidence drops. So during a government shutdown, during any type of anything that's negative, we'll say, that happens with the marketplace, you're going to see buyer confidence drop. So if you are in the buy and flip game, this is why I've been saying, and we just executed on a couple of flips. Somebody just put a flip under contract last week at a good price in the middle of the shutdown, right? So it's not that you're not going to sell properties, but during times where market shocks are happening and buyer confidence drops, retail buyers are going to pull back, and it can temporarily depress your exit values. So you need to be very strict on where you're flipping. Right now, I've been sourcing flip deals for some of our boots on the ground members. I'm very strict on what I want to send out, because you have to flip at a level where the property sells itself and the neighborhood sells the property. You need to be in the good neighborhoods right now. You can't flip in the C class or the C plus or the B minus. You have to be in the B plus, A minus, A class right now. You want to be in some of the top markets, in the top 10 locations within your city, and in good sections and on good blocks. You need to have so much working for you to be able to move quickly through some of these flip deals right now. And the pricing still may not be as high as it could otherwise be. There could be some temporary shocks. So these are things that you want to think about as a flipper in particular. You want to be very conservative. If anybody, for all the people who do know me, I'm pretty conservative, even though I can do lots of deals. I mean, we've built over 110 properties for our boots on the ground members alone, for our Done For You members within the last year and a half. So we can do volume, but the volume we're doing is conservative. We like to have nice conservative numbers on deals that make sense. So this is not a time to be overly aggressive as a flipper. It's a time to take even an extra month or two to find the right deal versus going too fast and getting the wrong deal. It's not going to help you. There is that anxiety of getting a deal fast, but getting a deal fast doesn't mean anything. Getting a profitable deal means something. You'd rather a slower profitable deal than a fast not profitable deal. Have you invested in property in Florida? We are working with multiple investors in the Florida market. I think right now, because there's so much fear and prices are dropping in Florida, there's a lot of opportunity, especially in the northern Florida market, Orlando, Jacksonville. There's some opportunity up there. So we're definitely seeing opportunity. We're sourcing deals off market there. It's not a bad time. It's not a bad time at all. Let me get into the pro. So the positive is lower acquisition costs. So you might look at the government shutdown, say, oh, prices are falling. This is bad. Or is this a good time to buy? Well, there's a lot of people who are stuck there. They're stuck in that questioning mode. Lower acquisition costs will arise for you if you're an investor because there's reduced demand from the government shutdown. You can create like short-term price dips and inventory can uptick a bit. This can give you that negotiation power as a buyer. So as an investor, this is totally not the time to sit on the sideline. This is one of the, you would have to be a fool to sit on the sideline. Let me put it that way. You'd have to be an absolute fool if you're sitting there with 50K and you want to invest. If you're sitting there with 50K, a 680 credit score or better, and you want to invest, you're like, hey, real estate could change my life. This could get me out of the 9 to 5. I really want to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a while. And you're waiting out the winter and this shutdown opportunity, you're a fool. That's all. You know, I get it. I get the fear mongering on the news, but what are you waiting for? A giant, you need some like air traffic control guy to wave you into the game. Rates are falling. There's a temporary price dip. There's fear in the market. What else do you need? Flashing neon signs? So you have to kind of wake up a bit and understand investors step up during these times. Investors step up during these times. Guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. Share the content with someone who you want to get value. Earl said, how about the Pittsburgh market? Pittsburgh is a top 10 market right now. So it's definitely a market you want to get into. Guys, if you want to tap into our community group, we are about to shift over to our community Q&A, our live coaching call, which starts at 9 o'clock. If you want to join, click the link in description, click the link in bio, go to workwithgrimes.com/offer, tap into the community group, and you will get access to those weekly live coaching calls. Ask any questions you want. We're here to answer your questions and help you guys to accelerate. It's only $27 to join. Let's get into the last one, the pros and cons. So another con from the government shutdown, and this will really hurt you if you're working on commercial deals, which is why I recommend like staying small and residential, because you can navigate all these different situations a lot easier. Permitting and government services may be delayed. So any federal linked approvals, you'll see a lot of this on commercial deals, low income housing tax credit deals and things of that nature. Inspections, possibly HUD paperwork. Some of these things may stall out a bit. But on the pro side, this is a good window to refinance. So smart investors can explore private money, credit unions, alternative financing, while the big lenders and the government-backed lenders are backed up. So as real estate investors, we're looking for DSCR lenders. We're dealing with private money lenders. We're dealing with alternative financing. We are not in the market where we're really concerned about like what Fannie and Freddie are doing. We don't really care, to be honest. And as you learn more about the game, you will understand that. You will lack fear of some of these situations. The only thing that could really crush our market is something like what happened in 2020. But even those shutdowns, when that happened, I was in the middle of it and people were acting like it was just, the market's just going to be shut down forever. And like the fear mongering is crazy. And the reality of the situation is it opened back up in 3 months. And think about it logically. If you are in a construction loan right now, the average rehab time on your project's 10 to 12 weeks. So if you were looking for a deal right now in the middle of the government shutdown and you found a deal, you're still going to get a hard money lender, private money lender to finance it, because they are like, yeah, by the time he's done with the rehab, what shutdown? The rehab's going to take 10 to 12 weeks. Then you're going to take 30 days, 45 days to find a tenant. By the time that's done, there's virtually no chance of a shutdown. I don't know that we've ever had a government shutdown last that long. Somebody can do that. I didn't do that historical data, but I just don't know that it's ever happened. Somebody can look that up and kind of fact check that. But if a government shutdown is never going more than a month or two, then why would you make a long-term decision, a 6-month decision, a 6-month turn, a 4 to 6 month turn time decision based on a 2-month issue? It's going to be a non-factor. Abu said, ride along. I will make sure we reach out and get you tapped in. Guys, DM me, text me. Click that link, tap into the community group to get in on these things, because the community members get access to the ride-alongs before anyone else. And go to workwithgrimes.com/offer if you want that members only access. Once again, weekly coaching calls directly with me. I'll be answering your questions, helping you to accelerate. I'm just a guy that's done over 400 deals in the last decade. I don't know much, but I know a good bit that could keep you from burning through tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on your scale and what your goals are. Go to workwithgrimes.com/offers, $27 to join for a limited time. And then the price always goes up. Prices, just like inflation, never really goes down. So reach out, tap in, get access to the course content so you can learn how to dominate things like Section 8, how to get off-market deals, how to screen tenants and manage contractors and build properties in a way that is going to be good for you guys long-term. But we are going to shift over now to our private Q&A session for our members. So I recommend, if you guys want to be a part of that, click that link and tap in. I'll see everybody who's already a member on the other side. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. Appreciate you guys. I will see you guys on the next one.